Food is a very interesting thing that has developed over many decades. Today we're going to be talking about different food myths and how they came to be.
I actually found out that eating any type of food in any time does not affect you at all. In fact, in the middle of the night, you actually need more.
Yeah, and I heard of a myth that eggs are very unhealthy because they raise cholesterol levels. Do you guys think this is true or not?
If it gets baked or cooked into something, that could also affect the nutrition
That much, and they actually recommend it as a part of your nutritional diet.
yeah, because eggs also have a lot of protein and stuff that help you grow.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people say that all fats are bad.
Last night, I went into my basement and I opened my fridge and I took a big scoop of ice cream. I was right about to delve in, and as soon as I put my spoon in the mouth, almost as I put my spoon in my mouth, my mom started screaming, "Why are you eating that in the middle of the night? You're gonna gain more weight." And I started thinking, is this really true? So I did some research and I found out it's just myth, which got me thinking, what other food myths are there?
Food is a very interesting thing that has developed over many decades. Today we're going to be talking about different food myths and how they came to be.
So you said that your mom said that eating ice cream at night will make you gain weight. Is that true?
I actually found out that eating any type of food in any time does not affect you at all. In fact, in the middle of the night, you actually need more you actually need more energy to help keep your heart rate running and to make sure your temperature is stable.
Yeah, and I heard of a myth that eggs are very unhealthy because they raise cholesterol levels. Do you guys think this is true or not?
Well, actually, it only depends on people who have more cholesterol problems. But for normal people without any disorders, it does not affect them.
It also depends on which flavor egg you're eating because the egg whites and the egg yolks have
Yeah. Also, like if it gets baked or cooked into something, that could also affect the nutrition.
Yeah, and one other thing that I found was that not only if you eat different parts of the egg or how the egg is cooked, but even if you eat too many eggs, um, that won't raise your cholesterol levels unless you have like a specific health.
Yeah, I think that is also true. According to research that scientists have done, they actually found out that eggs don't really affect you that much, and they actually recommend it as a part of your nutritional diet.
Yeah, whenever people talk about their little nutritional traits with like dairy and proteins and all that stuff, eggs are usually mentioned as a good type of nutrition to have in your habit.
Yeah, because eggs also have a lot of protein and stuff that help you grow.
Yeah. I also think that people have said eggs are fat, so that will make you gain weight. I know that eggs probably don't because just because they have fat and then doesn't necessarily mean you'll gain weight. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, a lot of people say that all fats are bad because the word fat is in it. But there's fats like polysaturated fats or monosaturated fats that actually give you a lot of nutrients.
Yeah, so actually only bad fats would be unsaturated fats or trans fats.
Yeah, I agree. I think that as long as you're getting the amount of calories you need and you're not going above that limit, then it would be just enough for you.
Yeah, another myth I've heard is that a vegetarian diet doesn't have enough protein for a person to survive. Um, I don't. I've read that this is not true because not only do vegetarians have many sources of protein such as lentils, um, beans, and other vegetables, but they can also get protein from if they can eat eggs. And this is one of the most controversial myths that I've heard.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I think it's just a really big misconception because people have seen meat to be the only type of protein, and whenever someone talks about protein, it's usually referring to meat. So it's just been this whole generalized thing.
Yeah.
Mainly in schools, you only get taught that like protein is meat and chicken and those types of stuff. But vegetarians also have a lot of sources of protein, like you said.
I remember when I was a kid and in schools they would put that whole meat, like that pyramid that says protein equals chicken. And I wouldn't believe that's true, and it is true, but people also say that plant-based foods don't give you enough protein. But in studies, 80% of people who do eat plant-based foods have more nutrition.
Yeah, speaking of nutrition, I've also heard that there's a lot of different misconceptions about vegetables doing things for your body, like how carrots can help your health. What do you guys think about that?
So this is not actually true. It's actually just an urban myth. Carrots do not improve eyesight, but the vitamins inside carrots do help with other functions in your body and can help optimize your nutrition levels. So even though when your parents say, "Oh, eat more okra, it's good for math," or "Eat more carrots, it's good for your eyesight," it's not actually true.
Yeah, I agree. I think that people are just born with natural eyesight, and then the amount of vitamins they take also affects it. But if your vision is already good, then it can't really affect it. It's really not the carrots itself, but more of the vitamins inside the
Yeah, it also could depend on nutrients that like help your eyesight grow in the carrots. That's why the myth could have been started. Because there could be like a nutrient in it that enhances your eyesight or something along the lines of that.
Speaking of nutrients, I think that a lot of nutrients have been said that juice cleanses and nutrients and juice cleanses will help you lose weight. And I found out that this isn't actually true because while it might decrease some weight, it makes you also feel a little bit tired. And when you finish the juice cleanse, you actually gain all the weight that you lost.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people make these types of cleanses. Like there's also detox cleanses, and there's many different types that people have made. But it's really just a quick fix for a short amount of time. And I feel like you really just gain all that weight back after a while.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that since we're talking about weight, drinking half your body weight is actually supposed to be like drinking the amount of water in gallons of your body weight is supposed to be healthy for you. But then I've also heard people say that you need to drink more than this amount of cups. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I've heard that like you should drink more than the amount of cups you're supposed to, but I think that can also be dangerous because there's a lot of cases of people dying because they drank too much water than their body could handle.
Yeah, I agree with the second part of your statement, which is like you have to drink like a certain amount of cups a day or a certain amount of ounces a day. This is better for your overall health because then you have like a set goal and you can reach it instead of just your body weight, which, as you know, keeps fluctuating every day. Let's say you just ate like a really big meal. You might be 2 pounds heavier than you would have before you ate it. So it's really hard to calculate your body weight and keep track of it while also drinking it in water.
And I think doing like drinking water, a certain amount of water is kind of like it's also about how you drink it. Because I know it's silly, like everyone knows how to drink water, but my dad, he drinks water super fast with his mouth wide open. And he just gulps down all the water really quickly, and that can also affect your health a little bit. So you have to make sure you like swallow the water well.
Yeah, I also think that the way foods are cooked and the way foods are made affects a lot of the quality of it and also your health. Because I know that there was a myth that says microwaving food can cause more bacteria to it. What do you guys think about this? And it also removes nutrients.
It could be partially true because people microwave stuff that's been in the freezer for a while, and bacteria could have collected on that food, and then that bacteria could have lingered in the microwave and started collecting on other food. So it could be true.
I don't think it's true because while microwaves do use a heating system, that doesn't necessarily bring more bacteria. because bacteria need a certain type of factor to grow, and just having a certain amount of heat isn't really gonna um, speed up the growth of bacteria rather than just heat up the food.
Also, bacteria usually dies in high amounts of temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because it starts to break apart. So there actually should be less bacteria in your microwave than other things in the house.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is completely true because at the same time you also heat up a lot of foods, and if they had fungus or anything like that before, or there's an explosion in your microwave because of bad milk or something, then there could be bacteria. But yeah, I mostly agree that some bacteria or nutrients can be taken away by microwaving.
I'm not too sure about the nutrients because I haven't read much about it, but I'm pretty sure about the bacteria because that's also what we're learning in school currently. When you put bacteria in like high amounts of heat, it breaks down like the cell membrane and the cell wall, which will cause all of the bacteria to die. So it's a scientific fact that the bacteria will live in high temperatures.
Yeah. Speaking of bacteria, I know we all have heard of it, the 5-second rule. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah. So I think that we shouldn't use the 5 second rule because I read an article that said the first millisecond when the food touches the ground, it already picks up a tenth of the bacteria that is that's on the floor. So let's say the second it touches the ground, it picks up a tenth of the bacteria. If let's say it's on the ground for 1 second, it would have picked up approximately around 60% of the bacteria just in that 1 second alone.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that because also bacteria doesn't collect on food that quickly, so it could 5 seconds could be enough to make sure that the food is healthy enough to eat.
Yeah, when I read certain articles, I found out that certain foods like gummy bears actually get more bacteria than on a carpet floor than a wood floor. I think that this is really important to acknowledge, and that we always don't have a certain amount. You don't have that type of knowledge unless you did enough research to know which food has more bacteria from which carpet or which type of floor. So I think that we shouldn't follow the 5 second rule and that we should just eat foods when necessary.
Speaking of nutrition and bacteria and whatnot, processed foods. Some people say that the nutrition in processed foods aren't as good as nutrition in organic foods. So what do you guys think about that?
So I would say I agree with this because processed foods clearly have more artificial nutrients, not as much natural vitamins and nutrients. And I would say there's actually less food and more just processed chemicals and plastics, and like that natural food is the way to go. Just regular cooked food instead of like hyper processed potatoes.
However, I do think that there are some processed foods, like there are some outliers. In general, processed foods aren't that great for you, but there are a couple that don't necessarily affect your health or can make it better, such as nut butters and types of food like that. They aren't necessarily bad for your health like other processed foods.
Yeah, I agree. I also heard that oranges could be considered as processed foods, but it doesn't necessarily harm you or affect you. I also heard that if you want to lose weight, that you need that fasting can help you lose weight. What do you guys think about this?
So yeah, I read that skipping one meal every day not only doesn't make you lose weight, but it makes you even more hungry, and you go into a state of ketosis, which is where your body starts burning up all the fat in order to keep yourself thin. In turn, this will not only make you more hungry, but this can also make you eat more in your next meal. So fasting for a short amount of time doesn't really work.
Yeah,
What do you guys
I agree with that because it'll cause you to become very hungry. So later on in the day, you'll want to eat more and extra, which honestly doesn't really do much if the point of skipping meals is to lose weight. You're eating all that anyway. And on top of that, I also think that fasting, it isn't necessarily more of a diet thing. It's more of a thing to do with people's beliefs and religions. So most people don't necessarily do it just so they can lose weight.
Yeah, I partially agree with what Cam said. I know that you don't actually lose weight, you just look more lean and skinnier. But I also think that it just decreases your metabolism and it really isn't healthy to keep fasting or skipping meals.
While all that is true, you can still fast and have a healthy diet. Like if you eat something that has less calories but just the same amount of nutrition and like has more nutrition and it can still like fill you up. I think like fasting it can be okay.
Yeah. I also think that some meals are not as bad as other people say. Like all fats are bad or all processed foods are bad. I think that we've had many people think that since there are certain types of foods that there are, all of them are bad. And yeah, I don't agree.
I think that people have made a lot of misconceptions about different types of food just because of what they're called or even because of what social media has said about these foods. Because there are many like celebrities or influencers on the media who spread this type of information and people believe that all fats are bad, for example.
Yeah, I also know that on television, people often put like they eat a lot of candy and they eat a lot of junk food and then they start getting hyper. But I don't think that is necessarily related. I also know that when you drink Coke, it has caffeine in it, which can cause you to be hyper, but it doesn't necessarily. That I don't think all junk foods necessarily cause you to be hyper. Why do you guys? What do you guys?
Yeah, the influence of TV shows on from children's minds and making them believe things that aren't necessarily true.
Yeah, I would say that it really depends on the amount of caffeine. Like if that person, like if they eat too much sugar, they get hyper. Or yeah. So really, it just depends on the nutritional value of the person themselves. And not only like if you eat a lot of junk food, you're not only gonna become hyper if it has too much caffeine, you're gonna gain more weight.
Yeah.
And some people have said that junk foods, like even if you eat a small amount, makes you gain more weight.
Well, I actually think that most importantly, as long as you're not eating more calories than you should, and as long as you are exercising or even just taking daily walks every day, then you should be fine and you should be healthy.
Yeah. So from this conversation, I feel like we've covered a lot, especially on nutrients. Not only the nutrients in certain foods and vegetables can impact your body, but myths on weight loss. How like if you do a juice cleanse, that doesn't necessarily stop you from gaining weight back. And most importantly, the myths on fats and processed foods, where some people say that all fats are bad. Necessarily, this isn't the case because there are good fats and there are bad fats. So this conversation has really helped us learn more about food and food